Grandma Ava has returned to us for the holiday season with the dawning, and we say goodbye to Cold Front and we say hello to Mistral Lift. Since this is probably the weapon everyone cares about, we're going to go ahead and put it at the beginning of the video. I always make videos on linear fusions and say, here's the new best one, knowing good and well that in a season, they'll release another one. And that's exactly what happened. Mistral Lift has already sunset the adept weapon that you get from Grandmaster Nightfall's Scintillation. Scintillation's Godroll was Envious Assassin with bait and switch, or rewind rounds and bait and switch. But with the introduction of Astral Lift, it comes with perks like Envious Assassin and bait and switch. The only thing it doesn't have access to is rewind rounds. It does have access to reconstruction, which does take the cake whenever it comes to beating out Doomed Petitioner. Doomed Petitioner has reconstruction surrounded now because Precision Instrument got nerfed. If Precision Instrument ever gets unnerfed for these weapons, it is available on Mistral Lift, but I would honestly not recommend that just because bait and switch does more damage maxed out, or rather the same damage now maxed out as an enhanced Precision Instrument. So what does this all mean? Do you want to use Doom Petitioner? Do you want to use Mistral Lift? They're both void. Do you want to use Scintillation? It's pretty much up to you. If you already have a good Scintillation with rewind and bait and switch, you probably don't need this. If you've already crafted Doom Petitioner with reconstruction surrounded and you actually like using surrounded, go for it. That's probably your best bet. Surrounded is the highest damage buff. But if you want the new shiny, can have multiple perks in one column, and is like technically the best on paper, minus the fact that it doesn't have surrounded, so it can't do surrounded things, sure, get Mistral Lift. The role that you would be looking for would be either Envious Assassin, Reconstruction, or Envious Arsenal, which is a brand new perk that comes to us this season, and it's basically bait and switch, but for reloading. So doing damage with your other weapons not only procs a damage buff with bait and switch, but it will reload your weapon that has Envious Arsenal on it. So with Mistral Lift, all you have to do is land shots with your kinetic weapon and your energy weapon, and then it will auto reload and proc the damage buff with bait and switch, which is really good synergy, really good combo, and personally I think that's probably the best combo you can have, because things like Envious, if you die, it messes up. Reconstruction is buggy now. Whenever you swap armor mods and stuff, it goes away. Also, if you die, it also resets. You don't have to worry about that with Envious Arsenal. It'll always be there. All you have to do is land shots with your other weapons. So for me personally, I think this is the best currently. Granted, that doesn't mean next season they won't drop something better, or maybe even give Scintillation access to this perk. But as it stands, Envious Arsenal, bait and switch, really good roll. A lot of people are talking about Withering Gaze. Please avoid Withering Gaze. Okay, now that we've talked about Mistral Lift, let's continue to talk about the heavy weapons. So next up we have the Zephyr Stasis Sword, which has always been known for having Cold Steel, which just applies slow whenever you use your light attack, 40 stacks, or your heavy attack, 60 stacks. And yeah, that's pretty much what this weapon's always known for, and that's what it's going to continue to be known for. It does have access to Rhyme Stealer now, so if you do freeze a target with your Cold Steel and kill them with the weapon, it's going to grant you stacks of Frost Armor. This is probably really, really good for a Stasis Titan build with Precious Scars. That's something I would look into. If I get this roll, I will make a video on it, but right now I don't have access to this roll, and I don't know how good it is, but that's definitely something I would look into. Or Icefall Mantle. And finally, for heavy weapons, we have Avalanche, which I do not think got access to any new perks. For me, it's always been Subsistence, Incandescent. You can go Rewind Target Lock, but again, these weapons aren't for damage anymore. This weapon does have access to Heal Clip, but these weapons have such slow reload speed, I don't know why you would want that. I could maybe see if you wanted to use that if you had Frenzy, but at that point, LMGs still have a very slow base reload, so please avoid Heal Clip. If you want Kabloomies, you got Dragonfly, Incandescent. It's a fantastic roll. If you want DPS, you got Rewind Target Lock. Please don't use that. And then finally, we have Sub Incandescent for Kabloomies and auto reloading. And on to one of the biggest disappointments we've ever had. We have the Arc Aggressive Glaive Albedo Wing. I had a video planned last year talking about why this wasn't stasis. I still stand by that. I know I never released the video, but basically they didn't release this as stasis because they didn't want the first ever and only stasis glaive to be accessible through the donning, which is why this thing released as Arc. Now we have a stasis glaive, and it's also an aggressive frame, which makes me wish that the one from Nightfalls wasn't aggressive, so they could have just changed this one. Anyways, still irritated about that, and I'll continue to be irritated until they change it. Eddy Current in column 1 is, the biggest thing that I see. We also have access to Strategist or Air Trigger. I know a lot of people don't like Air Trigger. I love it. That's what I'm going to recommend. Go Eddy Current for all you people that prefer Arc. I don't know what to tell you. Column 4, you have Golden Tricorn. Can be good for damage, and again, that only buffs your gun damage, not your melee. Same thing with Desperate Measures. And then we also have access to Demolitionist, which can be pretty good. It gives you 20% of your grenade back on a kill, but again, that's only with the projectile, not with the melee. And then Lead from Gold, which is a good utility perk, but normally I like that in column 3. Close to melee, which for me has just kind of died in usability. And finally, Volt Shot. So, me personally, I'd be going Air Trigger Volt Shot, but again, I don't really like reloading these things. I like using them as melee weapons, and they just don't feel viable, so for me, I'm just skipping this weapon altogether. Next up, we have the greatest special weapon to come from the donning, Glacioclasm, which we have Subsistence, Reservoir Burst for PvE ad slaying, and then we also have access to Slide Shot. Slide Shot Reservoir is really good for damage rotations. If you want to be sliding all the time, it's good, but personally, I'm just not going to do all that work, but that is the best damage perk in that column, giving you a 25% damage increase versus Controlled Burst, which is only a 20%. Personally, I'm just taking Controlled Burst. It's a lot easier to use, and I can use it with any perk, including that of Envious Assassin, which is also in column 1, Overflow, which is also in column 1, or Air Trigger, which honestly on this weapon I would not use. And then finally, for the Crucible, let's talk about some of these banger perks that we have. So we have High Impact Reserves, which usually just extends your damage fall off, but we now have access to the new best perk in this column, and that is going to be Closing Time. So when I put Closing Time on this weapon at base, it goes from 63 range to 73. It goes from 33 handling to 63 handling. And then if you want to throw in Under Pressure, you're going to be looking at 59 stability up from 29, which is fantastic. That's basically what you get for just having no ammo in the magazine. That's without a barrel, that's without a mag, that's without a masterwork. Your masterwork, you're going to want charge time. Always want charge time on these things. And then for your barrel, you can go whatever you want. If you worried about recoil direction, you can go Arrowhead, give yourself a little bit of handling. If you just want handling and stability, you can go Fluted Barrel. If all you care about is range, you can go Hammer Forge. You want range and stability, go Small Bore. You want just range, screw stability and handling, you can go full bore, which personally I just wouldn't do because it ruins your other stats. But me personally, I would just go Arrowhead because fusion rifles don't have deterministic recoil, and then I'd probably go either Particle Repeater or Projection Fuse. And honestly, I'd say Projection Fuse because if you get Closing Time's max effect, you're going to be sitting at 83 range, and then you're going to be sitting at 93 handling. So Arrowhead, 93 with Arrowhead and Closing Time, it's 93 handling maxed out, and then Under Pressure and then Particle Repeater, you're looking at 69 stability and 83 range with Closing Time. So really, really good. And finally, we have Stay Frosty, the only primary ammo weapon. And normally I talk a bunch of junk about this weapon because it's previously had a weird muzzle flash. I've heard that that's been fixed on most Amalon weapons, including this one, and this one actually has some banger perks for PvE and PvP this year, so let's talk about those. So the main thing I want to talk about is going to be Rhyme Stealer with Headstone. Rhyme Stealer is really good. It's on the auto rifle that you get as a ritual weapon this season. It comes with Headstone as well. Pulse rifles are really powerful in PvE right now. This also has the Dawning Surprise, which is going to give you health whenever you pick these things up. So that's really good. It's also going to give you 10% grenade, melee, and class ability energy. Starts health regen, 22 HP. Really, really good origin trait. Rhyme Stealer, Headstone. I don't know why you wouldn't want to use it. And as long as that muzzle flash is fixed, I haven't used it yet. I'm definitely going to be looking for this roll. And I apologize to Stay Frosty for all the shit I've talked about it over the years. When we look at damage perks and talk about TTK, it goes from a 0.87 to a 0.71 with Desperado. And honestly, if you're using Desperado, I would pair that with Encore, since getting headshot kills grant more stacks of Encore. Me personally though, I'm just going Kill Clip. You get Kill Clip going on this thing, you already get a 0.53, 6 crit on tier 10 to 4 Resilience Guardians. 3 and lower is going to be 5 crit, 1 body. That's definitely what I would aim for. You can use things like Headseeker, but overall, Headseeker is not going to be as good as Kill Clip. And for something like Kill Clip, you can use something like Tunnel Vision because it gives you aim assist and handling for getting a kill and reloading. So that is really good. Or you can go something like Killing Wind, which is just going to give you a lot of stats for getting kills. It's going to give you 20 range, it's going to give you 40 handling, it's going to give you a 0.05 increase to damage fall off. It's the only perk that gives you increased damage fall off. And then you can go Moving Target for some extra aim assist. You can go Encore. Again, if you just get 1 kill, it's going to be 5 range, 8 stability, 2 kills, 10 range, 16 stability, 15, 24 for 3 kills, or 1 head and then 1 body, or 2 crit kills, going to be 20 range, 32 stability. Also has access to Lone Wolf, which is going to give you just 10 aim assist for nothing, 10 AE for nothing, and if you're by yourself, it's going to give you 20 aim assist and another 20 airborne effectiveness for, again, absolutely nothing. Personally, Enlightened Action is a really good option here because it's going to give you 25 handling and 25 reload whenever you land that 2 burst on someone, which is going to allow you to get that kill clip reload even faster so you can hop into the next kill. Me personally, that's what I'm looking for, is Enlightened Action with kill clip, but I would also take something like Killing Wind, Encore, or Lone Wolf with kill clip. For PvE, it is definitely that Rhyme Stealer Headstone roll. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you did enjoy, be sure to hit that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video, which is about Garden of Salvation. I have 2 that I've just been waiting to put out, and they're finally coming out this week because I've had time to work on them. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in those videos. Have a good one.